member of a Columbia Accident Investigation Board. This will be Carson's fourth speech from the manual, and he would like you to evaluate him on his ability to economize words, to use clear, accurate, and descriptive language, as well as choosing verbs that convey action. Please welcome Carson Shaffer with speech number 4 titled Columbia's Legacy, Engineering and Emotion.
I stood outside my daughter's basketball game, and I waited for those twin sonic booms, but they never came. On February 1st, 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia broke up during its return to Earth. All 7 astronauts aboard were killed. A board was convened to find out what had happened and to make recommendations to prevent this tragedy from occurring again, and I was honored to be invited as a civilian representative on that board. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I had the privilege of attending the Columbia Reconstruction Project, where all the recovered debris from the shuttle was taken and organized. The project was located in a large hangar adjacent to the runway where the shuttles landed. As I approached the hangar doors, I could see several banners signed by the debris recovery crews. One in particular stood out to me below the STS-107 logo that said, "She's home now." And she was. I entered the hangar and spoke with the workers who took the pieces, laid them on the floor, and arranged them in the shape of a shuttle. They showed me how there was no clean edges anywhere. Everything was melted, torn, ripped. Every single piece bore testimony to the unimaginable forces of violent energy that occurred during that breakup. I looked into those charred, blackened cockpit window frames, and in my mind, I could see their faces. I had to walk away from the signs made by the astronauts' children before they launched. The most poignant ones were, "Have a great flight, Dad," and "I love you, Mom." I was looking at almost half the spacecraft, but the word that came to mind was flat. Nothing seemed to stand any taller than these tables. This was turned into this. Thousands and thousands of tiny pieces. I spoke with a specialist to explain how difficult it was to sort out all those pieces. They'd receive a piece, something like this, try to identify it. Now think how big the shuttle is and how small this piece is. Add thermal damage that's changed the color, melt it, tear it, remove any clean edges. It was a remarkable task. Performed by extraordinary people. Out of all the miles of wiring, they only recovered 200 feet. The thermal tiles that cover the shuttle look like styrofoam blocks that have been hit with a blowtorch. One of the technicians told me how the staff learned to read what had happened by seeing the metal layers that had built up on the rear of the spacecraft as the wing melted. There were layers of titanium, aluminum, nickel. This, among other things, let him see that at one point during the breakup, Columbia had actually been flying backwards. All that was left of the 3 engines was a few hunks of metal, enough to fill a couple of kitchen-sized refrigerators. I saw a piece that had been tracked doing Mach 2, and it dug a 14-foot deep crater when it landed. It's a miracle nobody was injured from all the debris raining down. Raining's the wrong word. Screaming, streaking, fiery, red-hot re-entry is more like it. The edge of the wing where the burn-through occurred had their own display. I was struck by the effort that had gone into making these displays. They showed beautiful, wonderful craftsmanship. I saw the spot where the plasma jet had burned through the wing and taken it off at 12,000 miles an hour. Estimates of that plasma jet were 10,000 degrees. That's Fahrenheit, Chris. No material on Earth could withstand those temperatures. There's no solution for the wing that would have averted this tragedy. The only solution, as we now know, is to prevent the foam from striking the orbiter in the first place. It's a pretty difficult thing to do. I cannot adequately describe the incredible energy of that event. To look at that floor and think that all those little pieces are all that was left of that massive, gigantic orbiter defies my comprehension. The actual people who built Columbia were on hand to answer our questions. One of the engineers standing by the nose landing gear told me an emotional story about the last time he had seen these tires. They had closed the tire doors, the landing gear doors, and two of the astronauts were present, and they wished him to have a good flight. Now all he has is a half-melted tire, searing memories that are going to last the rest of his life. Since we were walking up and down aisles, in between the debris, you could hear people in the previous rows asking the same questions you did. And the NASA people answered them with a smile, going far beyond the Call of Duty, answering the same questions over and over, again and again and again, as new groups of people came through. They did it all with caring, compassion, accuracy, and total professionalism. I'm proud and honored that my country has women and men like these. I know many of them, and I'm a better person for being able to count them among my friends. I had never mixed engineering and emotion before, and I still have difficulty describing how I felt that day. I spent 3 hours in that hangar, and I felt like I'd been there for 30 minutes. The whole experience was intense in the extreme. The violence that transformed that beautiful spacecraft into this junk, the thousands of lives that it touched, the sadness of the loss, was overwhelming. I got what I wanted, maximum engineering knowledge. But that night I cried when I watched The Right Stuff. The emotions that I felt there still haunt me. I had seen several of the orbiters from a distance, and I had always wanted to see one closer than 20 feet. And on July 12, 2003, I got my wish. What a way to get it. Just does that.